this up. So what I'm gonna do, in this mallet over here. Now Bill has a. And then we'll have plenty of space. Yeah.
Test. Test. so that, or you share your presentation with that whoever's computer that's on. Or I go up and I get.
Well, I printed out some copies. I could just give you all my printouts. I'll pick a print. It's gotta be so tiny to fit on a sheet. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
Next to that, yeah, so closing up on budget, doing this and that.
I'll show you next time. So the class is
Friday, right?
So we're doing the hearings today.
Okay.
Okay, we did the.
Okay. Right.
Your goals for actions, but keep them how we try.
Right.
No, ma'am.
Do what we have to do, meeting minimum.
Right.
You guys have candy at this? We do. Anybody like almond joys?
They went.
My mom used to love these.
You guys could do candy swaps.
I do. I like those. You like over milk. There's nothing in milk, you know. Oh,
No, like, I love it. Thank you.
I don't know. Isn't it?
Yes. And so, sorry.
Right.
You're good.
Missy,
am I gonna join Zoom?
Yeah.
I read it like once a year.
Yeah.
I have to ramp it up. It's like, do you want to get on?
I will use that too.
So if you could just invite me, and then I'll share my screen, just so ridiculous, because I don't usually do that. But I think we're talking about the past.
So nice.
And I hadn't really thought of it until after my mom was gone. It's like, you know, how devastating it is to be a teenager and get around here. Oh, yeah, I can remember this time I got a perm. It was the 80s. And it was hideous. I mean, I looked like I was 70 years old. It was really tight.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom like
So once you
saying,
accept,
we're gonna fix this. And she put me in the car and we drove all the way back and they had the lady.
Thank you.
okay.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Let's call to order the PCOE POP joint board meeting. And let's start with the flag salute and I'll ask the superintendent. Face flag, hand over heart, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, sir. Roll call, please.
Bonnie, here, Edwin, Harrison, here, Teller,
Here.
Reed, here.
Thank you very much. Call for approval of the PCOE USD agenda for today.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
There's a first and there's a second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have an agenda.
I don't have any slips here for public input.
I'd like the board to recognize our new PCTA president. Alicia Van- Alicia, knew I could, so she is at Portola Junior Senior High School.
Excellent. Thank you very much for being here today. And first thing we're going to start off with is the designation of CIF representatives to the league.
These documents were uploaded for you to look at. We have some change in leadership at a couple of the high schools. So these documents we certify every year to reflect who our voting members are for each high school when they attend the league meetings. So we have Kevin Cooper and Terry Hernandez at Chester, Jason Hawkins and Mike Voth at Quincy Junior Senior, and Portola stays the same with Sarah and Brian Sheridan. So looking for a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a first, then there's a second. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes, and let's start off with the PCOE PUSD local control and accountability plan for 2024-25.
All right, so we forwarded you the 100+ page document. And am I in the wrong? I'm in the wrong year. I'm going, what is this agenda? Because I was looking for something for. There we go. That's better. All right. So the LCAP that you'll notice will be attached to a lot of it's attached to the budget that Mallory is going to talk to here shortly. With our LCAP this year, we had community meetings in all communities. We submitted to our union leadership for all 3 bargaining units for solicited input. And we're in a really unique time writing a new LCAP. When the LCAP was written last time, we're in the middle of COVID. Money was coming in trucks and trains. And now we're in a state that's in a budget crisis. So if you were to compare the 23-24 LCAP to where we are now for the next 3 years, you're going to notice we have fewer large goals, fewer actions to support them. And I like to call that we're keeping our powder dry. So as the state budget fluctuates, we can be flexible and pivot with it. But in it, you'll notice we are committed to supporting our unduplicated students, so our most at-risk youth. And that's the purpose of this plan, is to outline how we are going to serve and support those students. But you'll also notice in there things like verbally our PCTA wanted to make sure that we recognize the need and commitment for compensation to retain our people long term. So we made sure that remained from the last LCAP into this LCAP. From all the public forums that we had, there was a focus on making sure we made a full commitment, or a better commitment to our libraries, and expanding hours. So we wrote that in as an action to support literacy, to support student well-being. There's a big focus on social emotional learning that carried over from last LCAP. We have our focus on career technical education programs, and reduced class sizes. The big ones that are core to our values are our outdoor education program. There is nothing that we believe strongly in that's been left out of this LCAP. We are carrying our mission forward, and trying to looking at it through a philosophy of, instead of doing 100 things so we want to do 20 things really well. And as we move into the future, and LCAP is a living, breathing document, so the state figures out what they're doing and funding increases, then next year at this time, when we bring the LCAP forward, we can have more goals and actions we can add to it. But it's easier to scale it down and then add as funding comes, because what you guys have been doing this for a few years know that when the state finds more money, they're so reluctant to want to give it. They give it to you in the form of grants. They give it to you in the form of, really categorized funds. And so, then we'll be able to pivot and add towards that. So we're gonna have a public forum on that. And then, we will come back and approve, if there's no suggestions for change, on Friday at the board meeting.
Okay, thank you. This is the time and place for any member of the public to voice their opinion or give feedback about the plan you just discussed. So we'll open a public hearing on it.
Or 12.
Doesn't appear to be anyone here that wants to talk about it, so we'll close the hearing. And as you mentioned, we will actually vote on this on Friday at our noon meeting. That's,
Yes, sir.
what day is that, the 21st?
21st,
Is that also the first day of summer?
longest day, yeah, first day and then longest day, right? Longest day here.
Great. Now we're going to move to our next item, which is special education local plan areas, also known as SELPA, and Jessica Stone.
Good afternoon. So every 3 years, the CDE requires that we do a full update to our special education local plan. So this afternoon, I'm seeking your approval for that update. There haven't been any major changes from the last time this was done, except for the budget. Obviously, that changes year to year. So that's the most significant thing. You guys have the attachments and the agenda. So wanted to see if you had any questions for me this time.
Happy. Move to approve. One second.
We need to do the public hearing.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay, sorry,
Sorry.
that's okay.
I heard seeking approval.
This is one where we do a public hearing and then we'll come back and do approval.
Okay, so it'll be a month or today.
No, you can do it all at once.
Okay.
On
We can do it
this
today.
item,
Okay.
yes.
This item, yes. This state of California requires public to give input on this, so now is the time and place for a public hearing on this matter, and I'm going to open the hearing. Okay, no one wants to speak, we'll close the hearing and move forward, and there's a recommendation to approve this budget.
Now you can go. I'll second.
There's a first and there's a second, any discussion or comments or questions? There being none, all those in favor? Aye. Motion passes, and again, we passed this day, so that will be on the agenda on Friday, and
Correct.
thank you very much. And now we're going to discuss the Feather River Adult Education Consortium.
That's me.
That's you.
So we have a consortium between Sierra County, FRC, and our adult ed programs. We have one voting member, and if the voting member is absent, then we don't have representation at that board meeting. And so I'm seeking approval to add an additional voting member, and that'd be Steve Dutton, our program coordinator and teacher, who is up to date on everything, and we feel confident that he'll be able to represent us well in this capacity.
So the recommendation is approval of Stephen Dunn and Andrea Sarasol, is that how you say it?
Yeah, so Andrea will replace me, and then we'll add Steve Dutton in as an alternate if Andrea is not available.
And that's how it's worded.
And it should be noted that these agendas, they're all under Brown Act. So if we have a conflict, we still have the ability to view the agenda prior to and inform Steve that this is how we want to vote.
If we couldn't make a meeting, we would have a pre-meeting with him to
Yep.
discuss it. So
You need a motion?
Yes, we do. need a
I'll move.
motion.
I'll move to approve that those are the two voting members.
I'll second.
Any further discussion or comments? And there's first and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Now we need a Measure B project update.
All right, we have 3 Measure B projects, we're bringing forward today, for approval. One goes back to the discussion we had back, about the pre-allocated Measure B projects that we were cleaning up. There was some funds left over on the Quincy Junior Senior High School allocation, so we were able to do 4 more classrooms and another hallway in that main building. So we have that on here for approval, amount of 39,000 and change. And then we have two on here for the Gartland Company. So when we did our roofing bids, there's two parts to the bid. There is basically the labor, but we contract to Gartland to supply the materials so that everything is warranted correctly. And so it's part of the bid process, and when we brought this forward for approval, we basically got the action of roofing the roofs, but there was no materials included. And so these are the materials for the two projects that are approved that will be happening this summer. Again, as a reminder that over the admin part of Quincy Junior Senior High School, that wing, which will be resealed, it's not a metal roof, and then the entirety of Pioneer Elementary campus.
And so what is the project total then? Between the labor and the materials? I mean, I see the materials and I can't remember what.
I'm gonna give you a ballpark, the QAS Pioneers is right around 900K,
Yeah, okay,
which is, it's what we budgeted.
right,
It's what we
okay, that's
anticipated.
what I was looking for.
And the Quincy Junior Senior High School ends up being about 225,000.
Okay.
Obviously, could be change orders once they peel the roof off if there's damage underneath, but that's all part of the contract. And those,
Is that a summer project?
yes, both of those will be completed this summer. I think the Quincy Junior Senior will go really quickly, and I think they'll be in the final stages on the Pioneer project as long as production of materials doesn't get delayed.
And do we have a project manager that we're having to deal with again?
No.
Thank you.
No, we have a contractor. We have United Building is doing the project, and then they answer to Robin, our person, not somebody else.
Okay.
So looking for approval on these projects.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, anything else on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. General fund,
Facilities contracts, on your way out, if you look, there's a storage container to the left of our media center. We actually had a trip and fall earlier in the year due to the carpet being old and creating hazards, so they're getting everything off the floor. That's things being recarpeted with the firm carpet tiles, so easy to replace. So we've got that project. It was under threshold, so I approved them to get started. We've got Nevada Children Boiler, the routine maintenance, so we do that every year. Current electric and alarm, that's for servicing, and I believe they're upgrading Greenville. Yeah, so we've got that. Joe Branch Electric is coming in. This is a change order. This is the Greenville generator project that we approved probably in November. That will, if they have to cut power at Greenville High School, we can flip the switch and the entirety of the campus will be energized. So they will not lose power. That's entering the installation stage. DSA inspection for the concession project. It's an insurance, it's covered by insurance, but the way it works is we have to hire the independent inspector, the independent DSA inspector, and then we submit those invoices to insurance for reimbursement. And then the ZP Abrego, that is the DSA, the independent DSA inspector for the solar projects we've had, I believe. Yeah, so these are our general fund projects.
And just.
Abrego was our inspector, but this is for the Greenville project. But he was our inspector on the foundational work of all the solar.
Okay.
So that's where I was, apologize. So these are our general fund facility projects. Looking for approval.
I'll move to approve as submitted.
Thank you.
I'll second.
a second, anything else on this? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes. And now we have the proposed PCOE budget for 2024-2025.
You're gonna present on both of them at the same time,
Yeah,
same power.
yeah, same. Okay,
You will though, Dave, you'll have two hearings, you'll open and close the first one, and then you'll open and close the second one, and then we'll approve them on Friday.
For the, you mean one for the county and one?
Yeah, you'll have two hearings, but there'll only be one presentation.
Right, okay.
So here we are again, it just feels like, you know, the days are long, the years are short, right? And I am just in awe of everything that we have done and accomplished and been through together this year, so. So as I was looking at my documents, I find it funny, this graphic that I use, because it's in a circle, right? And there's all of this motion, and no wonder I feel like I'm constantly going in circles and circles and circles, but here we are, at our preliminary budget, and then in June we have two, so we're going to present today, and then hopefully an adoption will be happening next week, or Friday.
Friday, yes.
Okay, certifications of budget, a positive certification will indicate the county office will meet its financial obligations in the current year and the two subsequent years. The qualified indicates it may not, and a negative qualification would mean that we would not meet, that we would be unable to meet the financial obligations. So as far as PCOE, PUSD, and PCS, we will all have positive certifications. Going through doing the county first, I just wanted to highlight, you know, I know that we've had this document up here before, but I don't know if I ever specifically called out the new programs and the new services that the county is supporting the district. And so the SNAP Ed Garden. Hi. Specifically, a program that we had contracted through Plymouth County years ago. That funding is gone, and we fund our garden managers out of that. But the county is still providing that service for our district gardens. A new one also was our technology supervisor, our grant coordinator, and our student services director. Mind you, some of these also do have a shared cost with PUSD. So I'm gonna see if I can minimize this.
Sure.
Does that work?
Drag it up.
I think you need to do it on this one. Okay. So our projections and for the sorry, you guys, the years didn't change. So for the 23-24 is 4.8 million with expenditures of 4.7, leaving a net increase in our general fund by 112,000. It's actually good. That's really good.
Yeah.
I had everybody check my work today. Nobody caught that. But and again, it's what it's showing you is right at this time, and so we don't have anything huge encumbered. And you know, we on the county side, most of our payroll has been paid by now, so I'm pretty confident in our county numbers. Our revenues decreasing slightly next year. And again, due to the fact that it's really hard to gauge when you have these 3-year contracts or 3-year allocations, and you are constantly kicking revenues down the road. And so you know that it's going to go down, but you have to also project out almost with that spending plan. And so it's really hard to identify those large revenue streams. And then some of our expenditures, knowing that we still, you know, our literacy grant is going away. So that was, you know, 700,000 right there in expenditures that we won't have for next year. And again, in the subsequent years, us having a net increase to the general fund. The key considerations for PCOE, I won't list them all, but you know, I feel like a lot of these considerations they're always ongoing for us here in Plymouth County. One thing to note in those revenues is our differentiated assistance that the county qualifies for went from 200,000 to 300,000. So that's just an extra 100,000 of support that we can provide. And then again, you know, it looks, the revenues do look great. The expenditures look great. Because of these higher grants that we're getting, the more administrative work that we do, the more indirect costs that we have. Not to say that we will be charging the programs full indirect, but I think we're at like 23%, something outrageous on the county side that we could take. Mainly for the larger grants, I would say we would utilize those funds, but not for the smaller, you know, that it all gets sucked up with salary and benefits. Okay, PUSD. Those are the correct years. So as you can see, as of right now, in the 23-24 projection, our revenues are sitting at 37 million with expenditures at 40 million. That's a transfer in of almost 700,000. And I pulled a report because that had me troubled. And what I do see is in our budget, we still do have quite a bit encumbered for capital projects that haven't been completed. A large number of materials and supplies that we probably won't pay out. So I would like to say that when we report end of year closeout, we will not be coming out with $40 million in expenditures.
What do you think? Yeah. If you had to
Well,
guess.
you know, it's really interesting because I did do a deep dive just a little bit ago. And our actual to date is 33 million. So we still have 4.9 encumbered. So 37.
We have one payroll run that we've got to do.
Well, but that's
and
still
then
almost $1 million
close out some
in
stuff, yeah.
payroll to pay out.
Right.
So,
Right.
but so that's promising. Lesson learned. And so what this does tell us though, if in the projections, if we, you know, keep spending without the transfers in the subsequent years, we will be decreasing, our net balance. Kind of averaging out more in the next two, 25, 26, 26, 27, but we will really need to take a look and watch for the 24, 25.
So those numbers are, even though they're in deficit, they're not like.
No, it's
Really
like,
good deficit.
it's fun balance. And so what I kind of think of it as, you have your reserve over here is like your savings account. And then you have your checking account that we're paying for all of this, but you're having more money go out of it than coming in. So there's still going to be a balance, but this is what you're spending down out of that balance.
So in the future years, what's the change that's happened that's making it better?
I have reduced expenditures by quite a bit and
So that's 5 million.
in our other outgo.
But some of that is like one of the things we talked about is there was just a placeholder for $1 million and change for capital projects. And well, we've just done a good portion of that with Measure B, and then we're using Measure B for our like our roofing, those big high dollar projects we're doing. So we don't have a big construction project sitting on the horizon that we're financing out of our own pocket.
Well, and we're also thinking of new income streams. for
Right,
that
exactly,
purpose.
which will offset that.
How much,
But I
I
mean,
mean,
even
23, 24, that was this was our last year of spending COVID dollars as well, right? So that's the difference too, between the 40,000 expenditure and next year's 35.
yeah, we still have some of those pots of money, but again, it's running out. I mean, $1 million has gone away, you know?
Right.
But again, too, in that 23, 24, we still have quite a bit encumbered, you know, in our capital projects.
And will you be able to formally release that? Okay.
When
Yeah.
we close out the year, so what you will see is you will see a 45-day budget revised in August, which should have our closeout in it. And then we should have a much better handle on what the state is actually doing. It's nebulous on
Well, and the
even how
40
much of a gap we're trying to close.
The 45-day revise is really if there's any huge shifts into
Yeah.
your 24, 25. And so what I'll do is when these actual numbers, the closing time, right, for the 23, 24 is when I will share with you that information.
Comparatively to many districts in the state, we're in a pretty good spot.
The key considerations for PUSD, the retirement incentives. We still have 3 more years of those PARS agreements that we're paying. And the one-time short-term funds, so our learning recovery emergency block grant, we have about a year left of that. And the California Community Schools Partnership, PCOE, is for CRC and Portola High School only, so we're starting that implementation phase over at Portola Junior Senior High School. And again, I know that I've said this before, but my concerns on the district side with our cash flow. the tax disbursements payments from Plymouth County is still an issue. And because of Measure B, we've had the luxury of interfund borrowing, but because we're spending that fund down, that's a concern as well. So.
So is there any like movement with the county on rectifying some of the issues?
We received the ones that I work for, we received our disbursement of funds like a week ago. Did you get yours?
like 2
2 weeks ago? Yeah, so that's 4 months earlier than last year, but still a month later than 6 years ago. So it swung back, but not as good as it used to be, but better.
And I think also I don't understand fully what their processes are over there and why there is a delay. I just don't understand that enough.
Right.
Yeah, so.
When they received 90% of the income on April 10th.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, right.
So why does it take so long? Why did it take 2 months
Right.
to do the, the distribution? And, years ago, we used to get a portion of it very quickly, and then
Mhm.
they would do kind of even up with you, because they knew what they were gonna be able to release. And that was really helpful.
I mean, I try to give everyone grace and understanding. I know what it's like in a rural area, the challenging to have staff in your accounting department to be able to keep up with the needs. So, but it definitely is a goal to work on that relationship and hopefully, get, timely tax payments.
And I believe we have a good relationship with that office and that.
The other part that's rough on that is, we're talking about our fire departments, we're talking about our cemetery districts, our hospitals, we're talking, there's
They don't have a lot of
all
wiggle
of,
room.
no,
Yeah,
no, they
yeah.
have tiny little budgets, and so
Yeah.
it's really devastating to everybody. It
Right.
really is, especially to all of our needed services.
Yeah.
Mallory, in a pinch and a cash flow issue like that, do we have the ability to borrow from the county?
I would ask the county CEO and she would probably say yes.
That's what I thought. So we do have, there's a reason why we carry an 80% plus reserve on the county side, and we're very frugal with that.
The key consideration for the future years is our enrollment and our ADA. And how important that it is. We need these kids here, not only, yes, for their education, but it is also tied to our funding when we're going in between, LCFF and basic aid. It just, you can see from the projections that it really benefits for all of our kiddos to be in the classroom.
We did a number today, we talked in cabinet, that since COVID, we've lost almost 300 students to homeschool.
Our COVID year, we lost 100 kids,
Yeah.
and since then we've lost 40 to 50 per year.
And that number is roughly $12,000 per student. Big number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed in the LCAP, it was like 1,400 students, and
14.8.
We had
Just
19,
fitting,
the
yeah.
1920 school year, we had almost 1,900 kids.
And that makes it hard for projections as well in the out years too.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
And then another one, and I feel like I explained it a little bit on those out years, why Leslie, you did see the improvement in the 2 years out, was to evaluate the capital and the other outgo. Because we know things need to be done, but we have to make the decision of when we're going to do it and how much we're going to do. So there were the capital outlay, and I made some budget reductions in services and materials and supplies. Just have to keep watching it. And as conservative as my revenue projections may be, I can't get too crazy up there with projections, so.
So, yeah, questions I have.
Yeah.
If we had continued to maintain what we had been doing for many years now at Greenville High School. With the budget, how much, what kind of situation would our budget be in?
Well,
Are we saving approximately what, million or?
I think, so what do we lose in secure rural school
We-
funding about
we-
500,000?
a little over 500,000, but then you have to consider what we're not paying for, so I don't want to say that it's a wash.
The last projection I presented to the community out there, building, so the site maintenance plus staffing was about 750,000 is what that was gonna cost us, so we lose the secure rural school funding for the site. But I I think it's a wash, maybe maybe we save a little bit more. But
Years, I'm thinking like 3, 4.
but if you go back
there
3,
was-
4, 5 years
there
ago,
was deficit.
when you had 7 teachers out there. Because you had a full staff, but a low number of students, they fund your necessary small schools. Funding based on the smaller number, either ADA or teachers, whichever benefits the state more. And so if you had 20 kids, well, you're only getting $700,000, but you're, 1.2 million in expenses. So it's been a loss for a long time. And then we've got, we still have to maintain the site, but we have that well covered with our lease agreement.
Any other questions? Thank you, guys.
We'll first do the public hearing for the Columbus County Office of Education, and now is the time and place for the public to voice its interest or opinion about Columbus County Office of Education. I'll open the hearing. Being no comment or anything else, I'll close the hearing. And I know there's a second part to this, but the approval for the county budget, again, will be Friday at our meeting then. And then now there's a second public hearing. This is the opportunity for the public to voice its input or opinion about the 2024-2025 proposed budget for Columbus Unified School District. I'll go ahead and open the hearing. Being no comment, we'll go ahead and close the hearing. And we'll move forward on that on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have the PCOE and PUSD Education Protection Act plans.
Yes, okay, so Plymouth Unified, let's see, Plymouth County Office of Education estimated funding for 24-25 is 417,243. And PUSD is 347,752. Both entities use these for certificated positions, non-administrative.
Is this something else we vote on Friday? Yes.
There's a public hearing.
I know there's a hearing today.
It's not your.
I don't,
It's information.
yeah,
Today's information.
Okay, but there is still do a public hearing.
Hold on, I'm going back in time. So you can answer correctly. They inundate us at the end of the year with so many plans that we have to check. Yeah, I believe this is just information. Action. You can go on with your public hearing. While I find this. Budget,
Started see if we
post budget. EPA. Open. This will be. It's information only, no action is required. It's just you have a public hearing.
Okay.
And then there will be no action brought forward.
But it would still be an opportunity for something. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and do the public. Do the public hearing. This is the time and place for any member of the public to voice their input or opinion about the Columbus County Office of Education and Columbus Unified School District Education Protection Act plans for 2024-25. Now open the hearing. There's no comment or any other opinions being voiced, so we'll close the hearing. And, okay, no information only, no action is required, so we won't see that on Friday, correct? Correct. Okay. PUSD minimum reserve level. That's also Mallory.
Yes, there should be a document attached. Okay, so for 24-25, it goes, just again with the budgeted total general fund expenditures, and then there's a formula for what the minimum requirement would be in the general fund. It's about 3%, and that's based off of our enrollment for our district. And then the general fund and combined ending fund balance. Special reserve, 4.9, that's fund 17. And then we had assigned the 974,000. And then in reserve for economic uncertainties, 4.5, leaving our assigned and unassigned balances above the minimum reserve requirement.
Okay.
And is that information only?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Let's check.
The assigned, is that the site funds?
No, assigned means you, that there's what's left over. Okay, so then they ask you, so what are you gonna do with it? And then that's when I'm reporting to the state, it's personnel costs, it's athletics, it's, what, have you break it down for
Right.
them. Yeah, so you can leave an unassigned, but I don't know if that's ever been past practice.
No, this is for information only. There is a associated public hearing about it. This is the time and place for any member of the public to voice their input or opinion about the Columbus Unified School District reserves in relation to the state's minimum reserve level. I open the hearing. There's no comment or anything else. I'll close the hearing. We're good to go on that. Oh, we do have some waivers. Attendance waivers.
Yes, so as you know, we had 2 snow days this year. By us using our built-in snow days in the calendar, part of the lobbying work that I took part in with some of my colleagues, California County Superintendents, was to change the J13 waiver process. So that if you have built-in snow days and there is some sort of state of emergency call, as long as you use those weather days, you're automatically approved now for a J13 waiver, and they took the subjectivity out of it at the state level. We had 2 days, we're submitting 2 waivers for our days that we took this year. I think it needs to be noted. Parents ask for an early decision the best that we can. Our bargaining units have asked me for that. And in the last 25 years, there's been 2 blizzard warnings issued in the Sierra Nevada. One was last year and one was this year. And when they do a blizzard warning, they tell you stay off the roads. If we open school, we are liable for any injuries or accidents that happen with those kids traveling. So I know we had 2 snow days this year where they were bad in kind of the other ends of the county, but it was okay here. But the blizzard warning covered the entirety. We have to do what we have to do. I apologize. I know we like those 3-day weekends and I don't want to do that, but we have these waivers and so we can be compensated and not take that hit. So asking for approval so we can submit these on to the state.
I'll second.
Okay, first and second, any comment or anything? Being nothing further. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. And we have a resolution.
Yes. So we have a resolution that Mr. Keller is going to read. June's been designated as LGBTQ plus recognition month and national and international effort to celebrate diversity and promote equality for all individuals. And so we wanted to bring this resolution forward. It's one resolution, but it covers both entities, PCOE and PUSD, in support of June as Pride Recognition Month, and it's called a bunch of different things. And so we just are honored to be able to put forth this resolution.
Okay.
Dave's going to read it.
Thank you. Yes, this is a resolution that recognizes and honors LGBTQ plus recognition month. And it's a joint resolution between Plymouth County Office of Education, and that's resolution number 23/24-14. And then the school district aspect of it, that's resolution 1653, and I'll read what we're going to be voting on. Whereas the school board acknowledges the importance of creating an inclusive and welcoming environment for all students, staff, and community members. And whereas the LGBTQ plus community has historically faced discrimination and marginalization, and it is important to show respect and recognition for LGBTQ plus individuals. And whereas recognizing the contributions and struggles of LGBTQ plus individuals can help promote understanding, respect, and acceptance within our community. And whereas designating June as LGBTQ plus recognition month aligns with national and international efforts to celebrate diversity and promote equality for all individuals, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. And whereas the school board recognizes that promoting awareness and understanding of LGBTQ plus issues can contribute to a safe and supportive school environment for all students, staff, and families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the school board hereby proclaims the month of June as LGBTQ plus recognition month in our school district, and encourages schools to recognize and celebrate the contributions of LGBTQ plus individuals through the educational activities, events, and initiatives. And this is a roll call vote.
Klein.
Aye.
Edwin.
Aye.
Preston.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
Reed.
Hi.
And we have my signature as well as the superintendent's signature on this. And thank you very much. And you have a report, sir.
Very brief report. Last Friday, we're all blessed to be able to take part in our community graduations. They were just wonderful events. I appreciate the work of the principals and the school sites to make our graduation ceremonies meaningful and memorable for our students and our families. Just an honor to be out at Chester and be a part of that. You know, the small schools, we're all small, but the smaller schools have a chance to make it even a little more intimate, and that is just very special. So it's an honor to be there. You know, the budget development LCAP cycle has been a grind. Been long days and long weeks for 3 weeks. So just commending Mallory and her team for their dedication and their thoroughness to make sure that what we do is sound practice, and you know, by being proactive, we prevent having to take drastic measures in the future. So, you know, thank you for a conservative approach and the work that your team's done. I drive around at ESY started this year or this week. So our extended school year for students with IEPs, where it's called out in their IEPs, is going strong. The ELOP programs, their trainings, we have student workers at all campus, and the kids are working hard. Getting trained up. We have lots of student workers working with our employees, our you know, regular adults to support the kids in those programs. So looking forward to a busy summer.
Policy revisions.
Policy revisions, what you have in front of you are a number of policies where we are making updates based on our advice from California School Boards Association to make sure, again, we're more legally defensible, as well as in there is a recommendation to delete one board policy. So looking for just a recommendation, to take action on this in one fell swoop. Does anyone has questions? Excuse me.
Move to approve. Second.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. And on to the consent calendar, consent items. First up is the minutes from the May 8th, 2024 board meeting.
When I click on that one, I couldn't get to minutes. I got the donation.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Pardon?
We have an uploader. Oh, it did. We had an uploader. All right, so let's move those minutes to the next meeting, the July meeting. And we'll approve the minutes 5/8 there.
Okay. And do we have other minutes attached?
There's a special meeting.
5/29 special meeting is accurate.
May 29, 20, 24?
That was only the three of you guys.
Okay,
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
okay. First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain. I was absent.
There's the district check registers for the month of May of 2024.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
First and a second, all of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. Service contracts included with this agenda. Any questions about that?
Questions?
Tiny eye
But I thought that was going away.
and still are.
I can speak to
Yeah,
that.
but we
So-
weren't doing that anymore.
Yeah, so we were able to hire 2 new SLPs for the district, so Quincy will be fully covered with in-person therapy as well as Greenville and Chester. We were not able to find somebody for Portola area, so we still are gonna need to use Tiny Eye for Portola. We do have that position flying, and my hope is that by next year we'll be fully off of Tiny Eye, so. We've had a significant decrease for next year,
So
but
the people that we hired to fill the Quincy spots don't have hours to be able to allow them to.
the caseloads are so high that they're barely gonna be able to cover. Like, one person covering Quincy is gonna be a stretch, so, yeah, we have 60+ kids in Quincy alone that have speech. So, and Portola's numbers are even higher, so.
I really hope we can find somebody as a parent with a kid with special needs, especially autism directly. Mannerisms are so important and you just don't get that on a screen. I know it's like watching a digital robot. But they really need body language, you know, for my son, that was key when we got him in therapy.
Yeah.
And they actually taught him with exaggerated body language. It's like things started really clicking.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and I completely agree with everything you said, and that's why it's been recruiting these people has been like one of my top priorities,
If there's
because.
anything I can do to help, let me
Thank
know.
you, yeah, well, if you know of anybody, we do have a lead for somebody in about 2 years that wants to work in Portola High School graduate.
Yeah.
That's how far in advance you have to
Might
be.
have to
Yeah, we need
recruit
to
these
find her a
people.
house now.
No, she's all ready, she
Yeah.
did summer school already,
Okay.
she's doing expanded learning, like, she's ready for it, so.
I'll hold a
At
rental if
least
we
in
can
a
find
couple
her.
years. She can live with her parents for a while, if she has to.
Seriously.
I got extra
Could
bedrooms.
you recruiting together?
What was
Like,
that?
where the hospital could utilize. this
So we
for
actually
dental?
did a little collaboration kind of with the hospital. We hired one of the people we've hired to do Quincy. Actually, one of your employees reached out and wanted to see if she could do some stuff, obviously not during our contract time, but just, hey, she's coming to the area. And she's gonna be doing that as well. So it did provide kind of she had already signed on with us, but it was just another source of income for somebody moving to the area, which I think is a great.
Just like you could make the package richer.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Awesome.
yeah. Yes, I'm really hopeful that within the next couple of years, we will be fully off of Tiny Eye. So. And we were able to recruit OT this year as well, so we didn't have to resort to going online with that, which is great.
Nice. What is Stop It?
So Stop It is, if you go to our website or any of the school websites, there's a button you can push and it's a way that anybody can report to, suspected violence, abuse. It's an anonymous app that,
Very cool.
you can put it in and when they hit submit,
It comes to us.
we get email, we get phone call. And if it goes to principal first, principal, vice principal, if they don't answer, comes to me, goes to Missy. And they call until they get a hold of someone and they report it.
And the
then-
kids know how to get there, or the
Oh,
parents know
sure,
how to
even
get there?
elementary kids use
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Very
It's
cool.
in, we talked to high school principals about putting on newsletters as well.
Mhm. See something, say something, and it's just another avenue.
And what is this, that income from first five? Does that go into staff or does that go into?
It does, it's to help offset our early intervention teacher. Yeah. We move to approve the service contracts.
I'll second.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And then we have a donation. The first one, the painting, is that the one that's here in the hallway?
Yes.
Yes.
Way out here?
We've got it measured. We know someone who can make some frames to match what we have out there, and that is a portrait of Mountain Valley.
I'll move to approve all these as noted. This is great.
I'll second.
And of course, I'm just gonna say something because it happens to be my dad. That's the other donation. So we had lots of community members donate in memory of my dad to put in some enhancements in the elementary school, and I believe they've all decided to do something. The basketball hoop is a hand crank. And it takes a lot of physical effort to actually get it up, so I believe they're putting in an electric one.
Nice.
So, because my dad actually ran the girls' basketball program and the hoop shoot, which is held at that elementary school, so I didn't know these other donations from the other folks, so just thank you to Arlie and Janet for their donation as well.
We already have motion, so.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, and we're headed into closed session.
All right.
And before anybody gets away, Jolene, there's some stuff that the fire. And there's stuff that encourage everybody.
I take notes on.
The certification page, I think you sign when you approve. right?
Yeah, we assign on.
Okay.
So not today.
I guess not.
No.
So now.
I put it in too early.
I think it's when the board adopts it.
Yes.
So the one that
I got
says,
that one.
the one that has everybody's signature,
That's,
Okay,
that's
that one does come
in
out.
your hand,
this one is the way.
right?
I just wanted to make sure. And these ones too, though? These two specific?
Yes, wait.
I'll give you those. I'm gonna put them all board.
Just from this one next time,
You did?
the two places that.
Perfect.
Okay.
So we need to,
Closed session.